Okay, so we use session storage to see whether the user is actually logged in or not. So session storage is maintain a small a kind of boolean value flag or something like that. So when a user supplies the exact username password what he has used for registration, the same is being used here, and we are letting the user to log in. Once the user logging successfully, we are setting the session storage is login value set to true. And this particular page container before change would be listening. If a login screen is loaded, if the user is already logged in, we will directly change the page to students.html, and even prevent default will make sure the further propagation doesn't happen, because if I notice this particular block called twice, so when I don't have this block, I'm expecting some sort of unwanted uh, scenarios, so I'll reproduce that particular issue scenario. I'm just entering the right username password. When I log in, I think it works here. Okay. It takes me to the students page, and in fact it allows me to further come back, and I don't want that to happen. See, if I refresh that, the students.html, the URL has got changed, but I'm still getting the login page. So I'm just getting some unwanted scenarios, some intermittent issues. So if at all I want to manually transfer the page, I don't want to display the login page. I'm just making sure the JavaScript function does not progress further. So even prevent default mean if any additional objects or anything loaded, it will prevent immediately. So that will make sure the particular login page doesn't reappear. Now, if I try to refresh, it won't come, and I won't see the index page at all anywhere. I can't get back the index page unless I manually log out. So till that time it is not going to display. So let us add the logout also working. Let me see if I can put in use. Where's the logout? Here. So logout is there in the students page. So here the logout option is there. I'm going to add one more function to handle the logout callback. So first part is we have to make sure the page goes back to the previous page. Before that, we have to make sure the session storage set is login set to false. User is logged out, and we are letting the user to go back to the previous page, which is eventually a login page. Now session is set to login false. So when the particular block again called, this time this in between block won't be called, so it will allow me to display the login screen again. So let me point out what is happening. Okay. Let me run it again. So just go back to a page. It did not load. Okay. think the Boolean part is working here. But, need to see. It's working actually. I want to verify. Instead of doing that, I'll reload one more time the login page, but should take me back to the login page, but it is not doing it. I want to make sure whether it is called or not. Both are getting called. Still false now. Okay, I need to do some sort of trick here. Okay, it does work. It was a comparison issue, maybe. So now user will see the login page. You need to again manually password. Let's get back to the page. I'll modify slightly. I want to check whether the back is also working, because I don't need to relaunch the page. I can simply go back because the previous page is already a login page. So let me see if I can get back the page. If not, we'll keep the same. User has logged in. Now he's going log out. Okay, it works. So I'll empty the login information as soon as I log in. So I can make sure this happens here. Sorry. Check log. to empty the username password after the user logs in. So we don't have. So we just created a session storage into work. Session storage, keep the user logged in as long as he is in the same tab, same browser. But any attempt to close this one and open in a subsequent attempt will again force the user to log in. So session storage memory is short-lived. It only lasts for the particular session. So as long as the particular browser tab or the window. If it is closed, it disappears. But whereas local storage, irrespective of the window open, close, or whatever happens, once it is registered, it permanently stays. So this is a difference between the session and local storage. Okay, so far we have just completed our login logout option alone. So user can very well log out and he can stay logged in as long as he wants. So now we need to add a add screen so that the form whatever we had put previously, that we can put into use. And also I found the fix of the previous one, uh, the register. In fact, it was the data role attribute. All I need to transfer it to feed set. Not the div, so it should be the field set itself, because the legend will only work if we have a field set, I mean a tag set, otherwise it won't work. So now if I see the registration screen, I'll have everything organized pretty well with gender, info student, and as I put that horizontal ruler is also in place. Okay, so now user can register, choose his own username, password, and in fact he can go back and log in. So I already registered. So now we'll put the student record insert option. I think it's all the previous one now, so it is nothing new hereafter. But anyway, I'll add that part also. Register student. Let me copy most of the part from the index. Okay. I'll put a back button so the user simply cancel it. This is going to be the same one, but instead of username, first name, What else we had? I think we also had a select option. I'm going to keep an index instead of the physical web. Okay, we'll keep the same. Okay, that's it. I want to extend it further. First name, last name, roll number, subject, something we have added. Time to give a link. Index. So go and add it. So I have a drop down nicely formatted. So I can select, I can add them. If the user want to go back, he can go and of course add it. Once he is done, he can click add. Once he is adding it, adding the entry, it should populate the particular list. Again, going back to index. If add student could be called, and the DOM will also be there. So name, need to convert as a student object. First one is the key, second one is the value, so not to get confused even though I am using the same name. student object is ready. Now we are going to need a array which can store the student's name. So students empty array global. Global could be anywhere, so not necessary at always on the top, but for maintain a modularity I'm keeping it on the top. So if you want to add on the top, you can accordingly choose the methods. So it's added, and local storage is going to contain a value, all students, something, 25 students. Now we need to prepare the list view. If local storage contains a key called all students, then it can go ahead and prepare the list view. So list view here in students. Oh yeah, I haven't added the list view. The rest of the value we are going to add it dynamically. So ID student. First I am emptying them. I'll use a normal for loop. Should be JSON parse. Okay, so index is going to iterate over the length of the students, then it is going to append list view. Use a single quotation because I'm going to use a double quotation in between. Using the single quotation so that I won't have a conflict. Concatenation students. With the iteration of the object, I'm going to display only the first name. The first name of the student is going to be displayed. Further thing needed, I may add marks or something like that, but let me first append them. The rest. List should also be initialized as soon as the initial page called students. Students, screen, what's the name? Student screen. This is to make sure restoring the application values whatever it is there. As soon as a user logs in, he can see whatever the student name is registered. I'm not sure. Let me run it to verify things are working or not. I have to do a couple of other fixes. After adding it, I need to make sure dismiss the page. The add student screen should get dismissed and comes back to the main screen. I'm going to add oh, I haven't added this to usual scenario. I need to run it. Gets added, but not as a list. I need to refresh the view. That was I was talking about, that for checkbox and radio button alone will need some sort of additional fixes. Index is loading. Okay, we'll see what is that exactly. As soon as list is populated, refresh. Now I see a list view with a pre-populated data. I see additional elements getting added. So items are getting added here. In fact, the login may not be working, but I need to slightly give one more data insert to true so that it appears good. So we are seeing the data is already pre-populated because which is already there in the local storage. As soon as I log in, I see the values getting inserted. So I can add it with the new entries. So things are getting added. So we have almost made it uh, the particular login and sorry the student records getting added. But we are not only need the add option, we also want to see the edit option, and also we want to see things are getting deleted. So I need to have a click option triggering here. Okay, so this is where I'm adding the student name. So I'm going to add one more function. Edit or delete. Inside I'm going to need an index. So as the user click on this particular button, it is going to execute a function edit delete student with the argument containing I mean index value. So that index I'm going to retrieve the particular object. So student object is ready. I'm going to call mobile page container change, calling the rich student with arguments. So I'm going to make sure programmatically I call as soon as I click the particular index, and the selected student object is taken to the reg edit student page. So in this case, I also need to do a couple of small fixes here. Add student. Where is the add button? It is directly called here. I need to modify its behavior. Going to use the same method for adding, editing, deleting for all the purpose. So I'm going to slightly modify its name. I'm going to keep it -1 because it is for adding. So I distinguish the change. So in this case, if student object for new, what I'm going to do, if something, I'll keep it just empty data. So it is going to go here. If name exists, okay, maybe I can keep this as a dummy name. I'm going to restore the values. So values get stored. The student register screen is loaded. So as I see, I get back the values. I think last name is also same. But other value seems to be working. The last value seems to be having some sort of working. It's LED. Subject seems to be the same. Okay, subject is not working. Let me see what is going wrong. Subject. Subjects are same. Okay, so local storage contains the correct value, so I don't have problem here. Sometime this should work. Oh, no. Let me hard code one value. Not. HTML one. HTML will change the HTML code of the DOM itself. It will put a different HTML. So I want from the existing value something specific value gets selected. In fact, it is coming but not setting the value. Something need to refresh. It is only a jQuery pattern. In fact, it is nothing to do with. Refresh option, enable, disable, open. Yeah, here select menu. Twice it added. Yeah, so now I get exact selected values. Okay. I also want to modify the values. So this add should not only insert the value, should also modify. So we need to do further additions. Where that? Yeah, add student. We need to have some sort of flagging system here. Okay. I'm going to add one more input field, which is going to be hidden. Time being, I'll display later. I'll hide it. So student ID, if it is -1, it is for insert. Student ID, if it is some other positive value, it is going to be for edit. That will give an option to identify the particular value is for insert or not. STID. STID. I need to first clear the previous values because additional ID has got added now. In such a case, you want to clear this local storage programmatically. There is one option. This will make sure your local storage gets cleared. You want to refresh multiple times. Now you remove it. Run your code. No values are there. Initially it is set to -1. Something is not displaying. Okay, so the value is got added. Now it's still showing -1. For adding student, so just I am giving the existing length of an array plus 1, so additional content value could get added. So dynamically we are adding the index of the particular record. Going to further refresh and clear the data. Newly I'll add. Just going along. Now we have a value 1, positive value. So when I add a new content, so the value set to 2. So we'll have a positive value for already existing record, negative value for a new record. So we can easily differentiate the records. In this case, this is for add student. So if this is for adding, if any value comes other than -1, it's going to be for edit. Student object, splice. I'm going to need an index of the item which is already available here. which will be slightly higher, -1, and remove one item and add a object. So splice can remove the pending old item, and instead it will replace the item with a given index. Index value we have incremented to +1, so I need to make sure it is reduced. In this case I don't need to do that, simply keep the same length. So, same thing. This will make sure my value is getting modified and go back into the list. The value got modified instead of adding a new one. I just need to change the text, so it could be set as a add, and I'll also add one more button for delete, so the item could be deleted. And I want to verify whether the add is also working. The refresh is making issue, but we'll fix it. Add is not working. Add it at the very index. Input text usually treated as strings input fields. Maybe that it has a comparison issues. Let me see if that's the issue. An integer, a string, can be passed and made as a number if you suspect that particular data type is of string or something else. So I'm suspecting this may be treated as a string or something else. So for that I'm making sure I convert it as a number. So now I can safely use it. And I can treat it as a number. For testing, I still need to clear the data storage. Okay, it's adding now. So editing is also working. I'll add one more item. I'll edit one. It's editing now. Okay, so make sure I add one more time. Okay, it's also adding the content. So the same way I need to add the delete option, and also need to add a couple of other bugs, which is something initially doesn't display the list view. Only after clicking only it appears, but may not be a major bug, but we can easily fix it. Now I don't want to display this particular field. I'm going to hide this field, which I'm using only for inserting it. Um, a style display. This will make sure the particular field is set to hidden. Okay, so now it doesn't appear. We don't see that, but our application will continue to work. So application will work. So few things we need to do. When the user try to edit it, instead of add, I want to display it as edit, and I also want to display a delete button so the user can delete that. And as well, I need to fix the logout also slightly, because the logout is showing some sort of error now. But apart from that, we have made it most of the part working. So user register, it uses sessionStorage, insert the student record, which populates the list view, and we already added add and edit option. So somehow we achieved our requirement. It's a kind of big code. I'll stop up, of course, up to here, because we are already at the end of the day. But before uploading, what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the script block entirely, because it seems to be quite big. I'm going to put it as a separate file, because time to put everything separated. So I'm going to keep a JavaScript file stating that students JS something. I'm keeping it as a separate file so that it doesn't get disturbed. Just I'm going to link it. So that's it. The other fixes will do it tomorrow. Maybe half an hour to take to see what all the errors or small fixes are there. Then I'll leave it to you. You have to reproduce the entire application. If at all it is already been completed partly, it will be easy for you to further add the changes. I understand it's slightly a bigger one. That's what I said in the afternoon itself. It's going to be a slightly longer tutorial, but if you get comfortable with that, and that gives a beginning of your complex application development. Okay, I'll post the source code to us website, then you can start your exercises. As of now, we are almost 5:50.